Yeah.
This is most of the defense already here. They are ready and waiting for their opposition, and it has kicked off strong. Zeek's been able to find one back in response at least, and starxo is doing the same, but it's left all onto BONECOLD. Sure, the spike's down, but he'd need an utter miracle to try and bring something back here, and the reposition is just trying to get an extra line on the spike, but they are holding this angle. There is absolutely no hope for him here. VOKEED, they get that pistol, and they get their lifeline.
That might be really scaring Gambit. And when you have a player like mwzera who has come in to be that silver role despite being a duelist all the time he was on Game Landers, it's coming and working out nicely. But this is still pretty expensive in the end for VOKEED, losing a couple of players.
Yeah, well, it's getting to the point of not even just expensive. As he goes down here, it could be a real problem, but luckily, we talk about this man being the superstar and he's popping off. It was getting a little bit dangerous, but he decides to just wipe down.
Much help if he gets trapped there as well.
Yeah, this is a scenario as well where you're seeing much more of a heavy investment into what would normally be considered a bonus round because of where we are. So there's still going to be some rifles on the board. Acend do have a slight advantage in that regard. You can see the rotation already coming back from murizzz, trying to find something through the cage, but realistically, they're just being used by JhoW to try and reposition. He catches one, but he's already been flanked. cNed managing to come in from behind. They're putting that pressure on. Kiles lands a second shot after the whiff from Reyna, and it leaves this in an awkward scenario now for the side of VOKEED.
cNed trying to hold on. The Aldrun is going to get some information. The wallbang is attempted and eventually goes through onto mwzera. Now he, with the spike eventually getting planted, is the last one alive in a 1 versus 4. cNed, you wanted him to come online as soon as possible realistically, but he has had responses.
This attempt, I still feel like at any moment he is going to be completely null and void for the side of VOKEED, because if they manage to win this round, Acend would have had to make some of the biggest mistakes we've ever seen.
You don't want to be coy about this kind of thing. Zeek holding onto double doors. These trades are still coming in well.
Okay.
And they had Bladestorm now, giving them players advantage in, but BONECOLD shutting down and holding onto holes.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was starting to get a little bit dangerous. They do still have Vixen with his rifle available, but I think it just comes down to ducking out, making sure they save something. JhoW has managed to get a second. They actually clear up all the remaining players, but there's no time. That is unlucky, because at this point, the round is what matters, and for us...
These issues, because it's not... I don't know if it's nerves that was the issue. It just seemed that the whole play from Acend across that series was a little bit weaker. Certainly in comparison to the other EMEA teams, which, by the way, all top seeds.
Yeah, I also think we learned nothing from this match, just because of it, because of the circumstances that we're currently in, unless they lose.
Yeah, same for X10 and X10 and Envy that start watching this as well, going, this is hard to gauge.
Looking to come in. cNed's going to manage to bypass the majority of the utility, and already they will clear off one. JhoW doing his best to survive, and with mwzera, they brought this back into a 3v3 scenario. The fact is, though, the rotation looking to come back. Kiles sneaking his way through mid. Now, there is still Vixen here. He has a bit of utility in an attempt to play with, and the angle he's got is pretty solid. Winning that opening duel will now make things at least a little bit awkward, unless starxo can clear him out, which he will. But with 25 seconds left, they still don't have any positioning on either side of the map. B is currently open, but it definitely comes with a risk.
Oh, wow. It's just also the fact that that snake bite from the grave from Vixen did do all that much damage, but it really got under starxo's skin. The fact that he goes over to B and you still have a player from Acend in a 2 versus 2 trying to go through cave completely isolates it. He has this utility to help, so that's why the Viper wanted to move over here. And the Hunter's Fury, an interesting play from MW. And I guess in this case, it's just really getting under the skin from Acend as much as possible.
Yeah, he's used it to basically just clear out some of the back angles. Obviously, starxo could have moved into them, so they'll still have to be clear, but they were hoping for free information. They haven't actually spotted him here on the cross, watching for the spray down, but he won't get anything done. 3 rounds coming up for VOKEED. It's the minimum they would have hoped for, I'm sure, with a little bit more being ideal, but realistically, Ryan, 3 out of 5 is not bad.
That is the most hype reaction I've seen to end in a half.
Back here, as they now go into their attacking side.
Yeah, already a bit of defensive aggression. Facing far off is Zeek. He still has that 0 point in hand, and it's going to be used catching onto Heat, but he doesn't really mind all that much. He's still going to try and posture, at least for a split second. Moves out, baits away, and at the same time, Acend have actually pushed up, trying to get away from elbow is cNed, and suddenly Acend have fallen right into it.
Yeah, no, this is a hell of a start. They're talking about a team winning both pistols. It's looking fairly likely for VOKEED at this point, looking to try and bypass the utility that's currently there, and although the rotation has come in pretty quickly, It's not a whole lot you expect to do. That shock dart combo was actually really nice from BONECOLD, but it's only whittled away a couple of the remaining players. He might be able to take another down. 3 HP remaining, and BONECOLD's found another. He's making this one competitive, but can't quite do enough. It's left all onto starxo. A man renowned for his clutches, at least when he's playing his Sky, but being a little bit surrounded. The last player, oh, he found himself the headshot onto Heat, and he could put them in the grave right now into that 1v1 scenario. Vixen on just 3 HP does have the spike. That's at least something, but getting it down is going to be nigh on impossible. He's hoping to try and find the drop on his opponent. The bait out from the small pieces of utility that starxo has left, just trying to act as a distraction. But everything here just comes down to timing. And the peek out, I think he might have just spotted a pixel. That might be just about enough, but Vixen lands the headshot. He keeps them in the map.
Up as much as it was beforehand. Now JhoW is going to lurk and find a lot of space over towards B as his stack is mostly on A. cNed actually buying up the Marshall, brings it to a 4v4.
It's definitely, again, a little bit more costly than they would have liked, but it's not quite the same as the last half. Like, even if they're just getting through these rounds and playing these bonus rounds, it's not going to be the biggest issue in the world. cNed, though, is going to attempt to try and clutch this. Now, he knows there's still a player lurking elsewhere, the cam, spotting them down the bottom of mid. mwzera, though, has actually managed to find cNed. He's avoided the dart, at least for now, and even not destroying it just lets him know that there's no one there. cNed, he's already found the first. Just one man remaining, and we know what this man could do with a Marshall, but he's not quite quick enough. JhoW.
Kiles, it's these kind of moments that I'm worried about because this toxic screen has been put up. He's peeking out of it, and that's a dangerous position to be in. And cNed at least wise that he might try and take this mid space. JhoW still over in an elbow position. And
he might get caught.
Yeah.
Oh, the dash actually saves him. Able to maneuver out of the way, and he spotted the remaining players coming through, but murizzz wins the duel anyway. Now that pressure comes in onto starxo. Stuck inside his own Viper's pit, and murizzz clears him out as well. He won't get the heal, but he does get the dismiss. Are they expecting BONECOLD to be here, though? They could be everything from BONECOLD, but it's still not enough. They have at least denied the plant for the moment, and Zeek will find another kill into this 1v1. Vixen looking to try and face off, and this raid doesn't come in! That is a whiff and a half from Zeek, but
open for another B rotate, but this time, VODS are going to A.
They've not checked it! They gave starxo a chance. Even still, though, the trading from VODS has been solid. They're going to use this Viper's pit to isolate the left-hand side of the site. BONECOLD's got to be careful as well. They've at least managed to deny the dart for the moment, but mwzera is going to get the plant. The full rotation coming in for the remainder of Acend. The angle, though, actually whiffs. It's going to be cNed given a second chance at life. And actually, they're going to use the null command. Remove all those abilities. cNed has managed to find one back already. Zeek with one more. Maybe this is what they needed. Getting them back to level pegging, and now they finally step up to the plate with cNed getting another onto the board. The lead is equalized for at least a second, and then Acend will snatch it straight back.
And they're shouting straight back as well. Decibel levels through the roof so far in this series. It was a nice retake. And even with BONECOLD using the Aldrun, that
be a slight pace change.
And Zeek, that's a nice one to trade out with that no command being used in the last round. It's that catch out from Heat.
He's run all the way up mid. The sheer pace of it catches cNed off guard, but Kiles is quick to turn it back into a 3v3. It definitely isn't done just yet, and after plant likely to ensue as the screen at least holding.
This is so scared from Acend. They're Aldrun all the way from Nest to Clear Tunnel. He really doesn't get that much information, and even then BONECOLD is checking behind him. It's such a paranoid look from Acend. The spike still hasn't gone down. That's why they're so like, maybe it's a bit of a bait. That's what VODS have been doing. And now the Hunter's Fury forced out too.
Clever. They're debating it out, trying to use the plant to at least get rid of that piece of utility.
The snake bite there as well on default.
Very well played by VODS. They might have to wait a moment for the screen to go back up, but it looks like they're still just playing the clock. They know they've got time. They know that their opponents are going to potentially take some sort of risk. And with their own screen up, I imagine this is where we'll finally see the plant come through. The tag, not really going to make that much of a difference, at least for the moment. Nobody in a position where they can actually isolate this duel. Now the retake looks to begin out of the side of Acend, slowly edging their way forward. Still managed to get quite far. starxo already finding one. MW, he's been isolated. This screen has completely separated him. This is beautiful from Acend, picking them apart one by one. Now he needs to do everything, but again, this man is just so clutch in these scenarios. Down to the 1 versus 1, but BONECOLD has landed that final headshot. I thought we were about to have a repeat clutch from mwzera that puts Acend in the grave, but
Round, they go into match point. Zere's point. Zeek yet again just trying to catch that first kill. Pushing a bit more.
Gorgeous. Almost look to try and bait them into the angle that cNed's now taken. Still having the dash online to escape if necessary. Knows exactly when to reposition. I think he lands that as well, so it might be survival from mwzera. The thing is, though, players are still moving on the other side of the map. They might not expect Heat to be this far forward, already taking control, looking to try and dash away, and he will survive, keeping things into a 4v4. But the HP definitely favoring Acend.
Where JhoW is again. In fact, there's a ping, I think, that comes in from Acend, just to be careful, and starxo again, forced to not play from arches. He can't back out. It's a position that if he gets caught and isolated from the majority of VODS, he's in trouble. And considering how reliable that toxic screen was in the last round, if he goes down and loses that utility, the site is very much open. BONECOLD there on the rotate. The Eldron already been used. One shock dart left, one snake bite left, so you never know what kind of combos you're going to get. And there's the recon dart coming through as well. That's a nice bait to keep those Acend players over towards A.
Oh, BONECOLD is hitting shots over the last couple of rounds. 2 quick headshots, denying this split completely. And with the other player currently stuck between utility, I almost wonder if this just has to be a save. starxo doesn't want to allow it, though. He's looking to try and push through his own utility, wants to try and clear them out, but murizzz will at least deny that. He keeps mwzera alive, and he keeps the weaponry in their hands as well.
And suddenly now, that tac pause coming in from NBS, it took a bit of a while for Acend to get going, but now that money, the KO there to 0 point, hopefully catch this over and stop that util from pushing away.
He's gonna be He's just more past him! He's just completely more past him without checking the angle! It's free for JhoW. BONECOLD, a completely different look for him, and well, they've spotted 3 players over on the A side. This is just now a foot race to try and get all the way back over to B, but I think the rotation will already be there before there's any chance for them to get into the site.
Yeah, Zeek is trying to regress onto mid as well. He has 2 flashes to push through double doors, and he is holding out very passively. He's not with the action. And so this is going to be a slow one to start with. We're seeing Ed holding onto the angle. He has to hit these shots. He's isolating and going to continue to push. He misses. He's caught out.
Oh, Kiles, though. It's been a quiet game from him so far, but he's managed to find 2 back at least. They still haven't cleared him from the site. And sure, there's plenty of time for them to do so. He's using their own screen to try and actually get position, and Kiles! One of those shots! 4 kills for him already. Now it comes back into the 1 versus 1. A potential weapon upgrade available, but maybe attempting to do this in style as he still got the Guardian to his name. The rotation coming in on the flank, looking to try again section him off with the screen as a little bit of bait, and he is now watching into middle. He's going to pop his blade. Somebody hasn't spotted the angle. starxo could just kill him off here, but the shot's landed by Heat. This man in clutch situations just never seems to lose, and VODS are still in this, Ryan. I'm honestly so surprised.
Yeah, starxo had the right idea.
2 players making their way deep into the B site. The Viper of starxo already delaying them once again. He's done well to just slow these pushes, and he's still got another snake bite. They're going to have to make the choice to just almost try and go through it, but that benefits their opponents more than anything else. starxo, I think he should finish this one. There's only 8 seconds left for them to try and get onto this site. They have to run through, and it is done. It took Acend a long time.